They told you death splits reality into reward and punishment. Even the paintings in old cathedrals repeat it. Saints float upward, sinners tumble into fire. The Gospel of Mary Magdalene erases that picture in a single breath. The fragments begin with a simple pivot. When the body collapses, nothing outside you decides what happens next. The field you carry in your chest does. Mary's words survived as torn scraps, rescued from a rubbish mound in Egypt. Every line still burns. She speaks of realms aligned like rungs of invisible air. You cross them not because angels wave you through, and not because devils drag you down. Passage depends on what you remember when flesh no longer blocks the view. Forget and the scenery loops. Remember and altitude changes. The first realm meets you with the taste of craving. Forms built from your unfinished wanting drift around like mist that learned how to speak. Each question comes from your own echo. Why did you grip? Why did you chase? Why did you build your name out of things that rust? If you answer by defending the chase, the mist thickens. Sight narrows. A new cradle forms and the wheel starts over. If you answer by seeing the hunger as hollow, the mist unknots. You lift. Mary calls this moment slaying the bond, not with a sword, but with recognition so clean it severs habit. You sense how practical the teaching is. Tonight's impulse to scroll through endless images, the jab of jealousy when a friend succeeds, the comfort shopping after a hard meeting, each small loop mirrors that first realm. Catch the loop once, let it pass through the nervous system without hooking action, and the pattern weakens. At the instant of final breath, the weakened pattern lacks force to hold you. The realm releases you because nothing in it matches your frequency anymore. Higher up waits the sphere of ignorance. This is not stupidity. It is the fog that formed every time you accepted a second-hand truth. All untested dogma solidifies into a membrane. The membrane speaks, stay where it's safe. Don't look behind the curtain. Trust the officials. Many souls retreat on hearing that voice because it still sounds like comfort. Mary answers differently. She reminds the disciples that the soul travels with a memory older than doctrine. The moment that ancient memory shines, the membrane dissolves like frost under sunrise. Rehearsal happens while you breathe. Each time you question a hand-me-down opinion instead of parroting it, the membrane thins. The habit of inquiry becomes a tool you will carry beyond the coffin. You won't bargain with ignorance after death. You will look through it as you learn to do in life. The text mentions other thresholds, the power that feeds on anger, the ruler that thrives on fear of authority, but the pattern stays constant. What you refuse to face here confronts you there. What you resolve here opens the path there. No throne, no verdict, only mirrors. Imagine how explosive that idea felt inside an empire built on priestly mediation. If the soul's ascent depends on memory and clarity, sacraments enforced by hierarchy turn into commentary, not necessity. Control loses its leverage the moment believers trust their own interior signal more than decrees. So Mary's scrolls burned. Her reputation fractured into caricature. Yet the ash carried sparks. Those sparks reach you now. Hold a simple image, a ladder of transparent layers rising through dark water. Each layer vibrates a little faster than the one below. At death you rise at the speed of your lightness. Stones tied to the ankle are desires left unquestioned, beliefs left unexamined, resentments held as identity. Lightness arrives when the knots untie before the final exhale. You live with pressure that has no obvious source. One day it shows as the urge to buy status you don't need. Another day it arrives as dread when you consider speaking an unpopular truth. Ancient Gnostic writers named that pressure the archons. They framed these forces not as red-skinned demons but as unseen administrators of a system built on distraction and repetition. Their job is simple: keep attention locked on surfaces. A mind busy with surfaces forgets its own depth, and a forgetful soul stays within reach after the heart stops. The Gospel of Mary presents the archons as checkpoints on the soul's upward route. Each gate tests for a specific attachment. The first gate echoes desire. If your identity still depends on grasping, money, validation, even pain you refuse to release, the gate holds you. The second gate echoes ignorance. It matches every idea you accepted without testing. Speak in borrowed slogans and the gate mirrors them back until you notice the echo. Higher gates echo fear of authority, habit of judgment, and loyalty to a self-image built from other people's opinions. None of the gates punish. They only reflect. If something inside still clings, the reflection sticks and momentum stalls. Look at a normal weekday. Advertising appeals to craving. Social media amplifies comparison. Urgent headlines trigger fear. These streams are not random annoyances. They are the same forces that form the gates, operating while you are still in the body. Every time you cut through the impulse, notice the craving, question the headline, let the comparison pass, the internal weight drops a little. That weight loss is measurable. Less rumination at night, fewer reflex arguments, a steadier pulse during conflict. In Mary's map, the same reduction becomes altitude after death. Christian orthodoxy promoted an external judge with absolute power. Mary's text removes the judge and leaves an automatic process. That shift changes motivation. Fear of punishment turns into interest in clarity. You stop asking, "Will I be good enough?" and start asking, "Is this thought mine or borrowed?" The second question rewires the brain in real time, long before any final breath. Earth works as a training floor. Every conversation, craving, and shock provides the material needed to strip weight. The stripping does not care about titles or rituals. It cares about recognition. A blunt example, you feel insulted, anger rises. If you feed the story, anger hardens. That hardness becomes data the first gate can read. See the anger without feeding it, and the data dissolves. Nothing romantic, just cause and effect. Repetition makes the change stick. You meet the same gate in dreams, in sudden déjà vu scenes, and finally in the last exit. Clear it here, and the later encounters pass quickly. Ignore it, and the loop resets as another life with similar themes, different cast, same script. Mary's record survived only in fragments, yet the surviving lines agree with Egyptian and Tibetan manuals. All three describe a stage descent governed by resonance. They differ in symbol but match in mechanics. Awareness carries its own proof, no external scale required. Modern resuscitation reports align as well. People describe confronting scenes built from their strongest emotions, then moving toward lightness when the charge releases. What does that mean for the rest of your week? You still work, pay bills, and answer messages. The difference is focus. Each situation becomes a mirror instead of a weight. Craving shows where memory sleeps. Fear shows where identity grips. Question once and nothing visible happens. Question daily and the room inside grows. Less noise, quicker insight, clearer boundaries. These are immediate side effects, not distant promises. Religious authorities buried Mary's gospel because an autonomous soul threatens every hierarchy. A community that knows salvation is self-generated needs neither gatekeepers nor fear-based rules. The same autonomy threatens modern systems that monetize distraction. A customer who watches craving rise and fall without purchasing is hard to predict. You cannot change the entire system tonight. You can change how you meet the next surge of wanting, the next flash of borrowed outrage. That single shift registers on the inner scale that decides direction after death. Altitude is cumulative. Hold one straight line. Nothing outside grants passage. Nothing outside blocks passage. The mechanism reads only the content you carry. Empty the cargo while breathing and the climb starts early. Continue until the final moment and there is little left for any gate to catch. The text ends with Mary reminding the disciples that the real teacher speaks inside. They leave the room uncertain but curious. Curiosity is the first crack in the archon's wall. Keep it open. Every honest look at a reflex loosens the wall further. When the body finally rests, the path you cleared today will be the path you rise through tomorrow.